This is Switched On.
Hello and welcome back to the Switched On podcast. This is your host, Akshay Koti Bhaskar, and for those of you who are new, this podcast is dedicated to those who find themselves struggling with the ominous task of choosing a career. Regardless of whether you're one of those people or not, and if you would like to ease the process of figuring out what career is truly right for you, or simply gain a more knowledgeable and informed perspective, look no further. Every session will present a different job from a different sector, and explore exactly what each job entails, as well as the required interests to work in the field. Today we have a very special guest, coming from the Ramnarain Ruia Autonomous College, which is an extremely prestigious college in Mumbai, India, with work stemming in education. The college was the first educational institution in Mumbai, run by a private management educational body, and since then it has carved out an impressive position for itself in the field of education in India. Dr. Anushree Lokur is the principal of the institute, which essentially means that she ensures that academic policies and curriculum are followed, and develops and tracks benchmarks for measuring institutional success. Generally helping teachers maximize their teaching potential and meeting and listening to concerns of students on a regular basis is also a major part of her role as principal. She has a vast experience of 34 years in teaching, and is a passionate teacher who loves to guide the curious minds. She has 13 research papers published in peer-reviewed international journals, and has been pivotal in the department's initiatives for holistic growth of students. She obtained her PhD specializing in microbiology in 2017, and was recognized as a research guide by the University of Mumbai in 2019. With nearly 20 published research papers and the recipient of various awards, including the Chief Minister's Appreciation Award, she strongly believes in encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship, which has clearly worked out rather well for her. Welcome, Dr. Lokur, and thank you very much for being here today on this podcast. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Akshay. It is really a good idea to do these kind of podcasts. So I am very honored to be here with you.
Thank you. Firstly, Doctor, I think the listeners are probably most curious as to why you do what you do. How did you initially become interested in this field or profession?
Let me tell you very frankly that I had no clue when I passed out. I had no clue what I am doing, and I was more interested in a career in research and development or in pharma industry. So I was looking for those kind of jobs. And during those times, there was not so much of career-mindedness and everything. So I just wanted a job, and I got married. And I came to Mumbai. And then this was the job that came along my way, and I started working there. And the moment I started working, within a year or so, I realized that I'm really enjoying it and I'm good at it. And then I decided that I'm going to stay in this profession forever, and I'm not going to change and not adopt my idea of going to R&D and working for a multinational, because working with students was something that I was really enjoying, and I was becoming good in teaching also. I could see the satisfaction on the faces of the students. That was it.
I guess the job then found you, I guess.
Maybe, yes.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself, such as your interests, skills, and what do you like to do outside of work?
Yes, first of all, I like a few things to do as a routine. I like my walks alone. And while walking, I listen to some podcasts, not music. I listen to Audible, and I listen to books very often. Very often I listen to good autobiographies. I like that, and I have a very passion for science. So I keep on reading books on science, especially in biotechnology.
That's excellent.
I really like that, and I don't get time otherwise to read that much. So that 1 hour is me time where I listen to all this. So that's one thing I don't want to miss. And other thing is gardening. I really love plants and flowers both. So I try to spend some time there, especially on weekends. I learned a lot about soilless cultivation, hydroponics and things like that, and I'm spending time in that also outside work. So that's a great stress buster.
Yeah. Speaking of finding time for balance between personal life and career, especially considering the infamous working hours of a teacher, do you have any advice for maintaining this balance, and how do you do it?
First of all, I like what I'm doing, so I don't find that as a burden. But yes, I understand that you have to strike a balance between personal life and your working life. So whenever you come home, I try to not think about work, and again, see, it is the mindfulness is what you have to learn. So whatever you are doing that time, give your 100% to it. So that is what I believe in, and that is what I have been doing. So you just keep that work aside when you are at home and fully enjoy. Even if I'm cooking or whatever chores I'm doing, then I'm fully into it. So I think that is what can help. Yeah, that's what helps in managing this. And somewhere you have to decide when to call it off, because work is never going to end.
Okay.
So somewhere you decide, this is it, this is what I can do to best of my abilities.
And then go.
Otherwise, in the long run, it's not going to help if you don't have your time. And your personal life suffering is not going to help again in the long run.
Do you think that your hours have improved though since you started? Has it gotten much better over time or no?
Not really.
No?
Hours have not improved. Hours are, I think, sometimes they have increased, but I have learned to balance it very well.
Okay.
So, as long as, I can emotionally or I don't take stress, I'm fine.
Okay.
So, that I have learned to manage.
That's good, yeah. Can you provide a brief overview of the role you play within the college? And what are the main responsibilities and tasks you handle on a daily basis?
So my work will involve mainly academic and administrative. Both these are the things that I have to do in my work. So in academic thing, you will have a student's life cycle, typical life cycle starting from admission to following the whole academic calendar, examinations, continuous assessments, results. So I have to see to it that that academic calendar is being followed properly, along with some co-curricular and extracurricular activities to give the flavor of different things to students. So all that, whether it is going on smoothly or not, we have various, I delegate, but I have to see to it that it is working properly. And in other administrative roles, I have to be talking to students, teaching staff, support staff. So that is the balance that I have to strike. I have to see that students are getting what they want. There have to be innovations in teaching, learning, in examinations everywhere. So I have to look at that also. I have to look at that the college has to go higher in rankings. We have to do better, and therefore whatever needs to be done, I have to look at those things. So that may be getting more funds for running an institution. It may be getting more grants from governments, NGOs, non-government, different organizations, research organizations. Those could be one thing. Then there could be infrastructure that I need to do, especially with this online or hybrid mode. I need to look at digital infrastructure, which then we have to learn that. I have to train my teachers for all that. So that kind of responsibility. So getting funds to sustain this and to grow further. So that is one thing that I continuously need to look at. I need to look at how my accreditation, my grades will be better. So in that case, I need to do a lot of network, understanding with peers, understanding, talking to industries, talking to other collaborators, research institutions, so that students have better experience, and in grading, I have to have better grades, so that my institution is at the top in one of the leading institutions.
Understood, yeah. Could you share any specific projects or assignments you've worked on recently that highlight the nature of your job?
Yeah, very recently, as you must have seen, India has adopted a new education policy. This National Education Policy 2020 has brought in a lot of changes in the way our education system was. So in last whole year, me and whole of my team have been working on all these challenges. We had to restructure all our curriculum. We had to given different kind of skills, ability enhancement courses, which were earlier given in informal way. So we had to make that whole formal system.
Sure.
So there, what I had to do was first understand the system, understand what we need to do, what different kinds of skills, and we had to do skill gap analysis. We had to understand what I need to do. I had to talk to a lot of industries, research institutions to see whether I can collaborate with them. Then I had to train my teachers for this new way of teaching, learning and evaluation. So then I had to get a software which was there in place, but we had to modify the whole verticals in that. There are many more verticals. I had to change my academic calendar. I had to bring lot of awareness programs for students, for parents, make them understand the system. We had to design many new innovative curricula where they are cross-disciplinary, more multidisciplinary. I had to change my infrastructure for that. So all this in 1 year was really a challenging thing, but we did it. And for all this, all your skills as a leader come into play. So whether you can have innovations, you can bring in people together and make them work for all this. It was a lot to us.
Must have been a great challenge.
It was a great challenge, but we did it very well. So I'm really happy at the end of it.
Okay. As the first woman in roughly 85 years to have the role of principal at the college, did you find it very difficult to establish your authority? And were there many obstacles facing you while trying to attain the title in the first place?
I'm very happy to say that actually there were no obstacles.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because I think India or in Mumbai, the way it is that women are given lot of respect. And in this case, in my case, see, I have climbed up the ladders.
Right.
I started as an assistant teacher is what we call it. And slowly, along with teaching was my passion. I was enjoying that role all these years. And as I progressed, I started realizing that I would like to take part in other administrative activities also. So over the years, my career spans around 38 years now. So in last few years, I was already doing lot of administrative responsibilities. I was academic dean at one point of time. I was, we have accreditation, there is a NAC accreditation for our institutions, which is done every 5 years. And my institution is accredited as an A+ institution.
Oh, wow.
And I have led 2 cycles of those I have led. And you can't lead this accreditation unless you know the college very well. And unless you are a leader, you can't do that. So I have been doing this. I was in charge. I was a vice principal before that. We started a skill development center. I was a director of that skill development center. So I have done lot of administrative.
So well respected within.
Well respected, well known, and people already knew that I am doing these things. I knew my institution inside out. And when it came as when the leadership role opened up, there was no better choice. There was, everyone knew that I'm going to be there, and I was accepted very well.
It's great to hear there was no adversity.
No adversity at all. In fact, there was a lot of respect.
Yeah, excellent. What are some of the challenges that you face in your role, and how do you usually overcome them? For example, the one that you mentioned earlier with the new India's initiative with education.
So, one of the things that I would say challenge for institution like mine, it's a sort of, as we call it, aided institution where we get some funds from the government and rest we cannot charge very high fees. So, there are always financial constraints. So, my main challenge is I have to maintain quality, but there are always financial challenges. So how do I manage that? So that is the biggest challenge that I face, and that is where all my leadership skills again come into play. So I'm talking to various funding agencies all the time, trying to talk to people. I have a lot of well-wishers, alumni. I have a big alumni network, so I'm reaching out to all of them. And by God's grace, it has been great. People are trying to help, and we are able to manage to cross these hurdles. But that is how, you have to be continuously at it to do it. So keep your institution as a leading institution with all these constraints.
Are there any particular aspects of your job that you find especially rewarding or fulfilling?
I would love to say interaction with students. I'm always with young minds, young and vibrant minds. So I don't grow old. First of all, we don't feel old because I have been forever for last 38 years. My working life has been with students of this 18 to 20 to 23 age group. So first of all, these are all very inquisitive minds. So they are always challenging you. So academically, when I am in the class, I am preparing a lot, I am reading a lot, and I have to read all the recent things. So I am always up to date with my information, and students keep on asking a lot of doubts. So I am enriched in my academics. Also, I get enriched. Besides academics, there is so much happening in the college. It's a very vibrant atmosphere. There are many extracurricular activities. There is always some competition, some event going on. So just seeing that keeps me...
Must be so positive.
That's a positivity that I'm seeing all the time. That is one thing. Another thing is the institution that I have a lot of socio-economic, different people coming from various socio-economic backgrounds. So during this tenure, I have helped many students who otherwise wouldn't have been able to do it financially by giving them guidance to guide them into proper career.
That's really excellent.
So with that, it is so fulfilling and enriching for me, and very often I have students who I have taught in earlier batches. Now they are doing so well. They are in positions where they come back and tell us, ma'am, this is what you taught us, this has helped us. And that is so rewarding when a student comes back and tells us that they have done well because of what we have, what values we instilled and what we taught.
It must be so satisfying to see a student flourish.
I can see many of them come back to bring their children in the same department.
Wow.
So I would say I have my grandchildren now with me in many a times. And wherever I travel, anywhere in the world, I will meet a student. It's always, and people will say, ma'am, come and meet us, stay with us. See that warmth, that respect that you get, that I don't think you get in many other professions. So that I would say the most enriching and satisfying thing for me.
Okay, that's really awesome. Can you describe any common misconceptions or myths about your job or industry that students may have? And can you perhaps debunk any?
Very often we hear that, it's teacher's job, you have lot of holidays, you have vacations, and it's an easy job. I would like to say that it's not so. In fact, you are working all the time. Unless if you are teaching to keep yourself updated, you need to read a lot. So maybe we are seen in the college, maybe with students for a shorter duration maybe, but beyond classes, we have to do a lot of homework. So we have to always read what is latest, especially now I'm in science. So my field is changing
constantly
so fast.
Adapting.
You have to, I am teaching what I have never learned or what I have never even imagined. So that is what we have to learn all this ourselves and then teach. So that is something that people cannot see that we are doing all this. Plus, there is accreditation, there is many other administrative things that every teacher also has to do. So all that is besides our class hours.
Sure.
There is a lot of work in vacations. We are studying for next year's terms. What are we going to do? How are we going to teach them? The teaching plan, examination plan. You have to be innovative in examinations. So doing that is not easy. So that is what we keep on doing. So people feel that it's an easy thing. It's not.
Yeah, so I guess there's no reward without all the effort that you put in.
Yes, of course. If you want to be good, there are no shortcuts.
Right. For students wishing to apply for a job in your industry, what would you recommend as the degree they should aspire to attain? Specifically just the teaching role. And what would you like to say to students who are considering a career path similar to yours?
First of all, the degree that you need for teaching in higher educational institutions is a PhD.
Okay.
So a research is a must, and I would advise that they do it early on in the career. giving my example, I did it after 50. And I felt I should have done it
Much earlier, yeah.
It would have helped me in my personal teaching also. What else was it? Did you ask?
What should, like, do you have any advice for students who are considering the same career path?
First of all, you have to have passion for teaching.
Okay.
And again, compassion, empathy, and obviously good subject knowledge.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a must. Yeah.
That's a must. So, assuming that is there, beyond that, you have to have passion. You have to understand the student.
Okay.
You have to understand that there are different learning needs. Every student comes from a different background.
I guess you need a lot of patience as well.
Lot of patience, and everyone, see, in a class you will always have some advanced learners and some learners who are average or below average. That is your skill. How you balance all this, you have to keep advanced learners engaged and slow learners have to come up to that level. So that's the challenge that you have to face on a daily basis. And how do you do that? That's your skill. Then only you'll be a good teacher. So for all this, you have to understand students very well, understand the person, where the student comes from.
Right.
You can do this.
With the increasing emphasis on sustainability and social responsibility, how is the education industry adapting, and what impact does it have on career choices and opportunities?
SDGs, or as you know, in 2015, 193 countries have come together and they have become signatories to SDG goals, and there are 17 goals. Where education, the goal number 4, education is goal number 4, but education is going to be the key element for many of these things. So there is all the innovative grassroots level innovations will be required. Education is going to help in mitigating lot of challenges, financial literacy or digital literacy. All these things are going to come through education. Again, education is going to change drastically. So there are going to be various new sectors opening, new jobs opening, and therefore education industry also has to cater to that. So we as educators have to think of what are the new career options for our students and have to change our maybe curricula, the degrees that we are giving. We will have to make changes in that also. And again, in this, one of the things in SDG is reaching out. Education is one of the things where for government of India, the GER, gross enrollment ratio, has to increase. So there has to be more and more inclusion. More and more schools or colleges have to come in. So education is going to play a very important role in next 7 years, especially because it is up to 2030. They have said that we will go have some progress with these 17 goals.
Got it.
Right.
Speaking of change and adaptation, as automation and AI continue to influence industries, how do you see these advancements affecting the teaching roles?
The teaching role might change a lot.
Yeah.
See, right now, everything is available at your fingertips, and now with AI, the chat GPT is there. All of us are thinking about how do we give assignments now. Now we are thinking of innovative assignments, but so therefore there are a lot of challenges in front of teaching fraternity. So we have to innovate, and we have to decide in what way we get. I feel we have to give assignments where personalized experiences are more. Case studies like that where there is some personal experience comes in, so that there is no copy paste like thing happening. But with AI and all machine learning and everything, blockchain, all these developments that are happening, the teacher's role may not be a teacher. We will be facilitators more than anything, and we facilitate the students to achieve what they want. We have to make them realize what are their potentials, bring them up, and keep on guiding them rather than teaching them, because students have information available. The earlier role of teachers was providing information. Now it should not be so. We should be facilitators. So that is how we have to change the way in which teaching learning is happening. But all beyond everything, what I still feel is whatever it is, you will always need a teacher. Teacher will never be replaced, because there is much more that happens in the classroom than just bookish teaching. Okay, there's a lot of peer learning happening. Teacher and student has that guru shishya kind of relationship where as teachers we are very often mentors also.
Right.
It doesn't happen when you are just taking courses on
Line.
MOOCs
Oh,
like
yeah.
passive online open learnings like Coursera or Udemy, all these things that you know. There you will be learning fine, but there is no personal interaction. All that is needed for development of any student that cannot be replaced. So we will change the ways in we are teaching, but that personal touch I feel is really important for the all-round development of a student.
Right.
That will not go.
Yeah. So I guess the market will always.
Market will always be. Otherwise, we'll need more counselors.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you have any personal advice as to what skills or qualifications are necessary to succeed in your position?
Obviously, leadership skills.
Right.
Yes, that they have to be there. But along with leadership skills, there is ability to adapt and innovate. See, unless you that the changing times, if you don't change,
We've been talking so much
Yeah.
about the change. You have to be able to
so
cope with
you
it.
will need that. You will need people skills. So your communication skills have to be good, and you have to know people. See, finally, this role or such roles are managing people. So if you can manage people, you can handle things well. Then you can make institution will run smoothly. So that is the key skill I would say, and problem solving skills. You should not be worried about if there are going to be problems. So your problem solving skills have to be there, and beyond all that, compassion, empathy,
Right.
and passion for the skill. Unless you are passionate,
You can't succeed.
Yes.
Speaking of people skills and things, in your experience, how crucial is networking within the sector? And what strategies can individuals employ to build meaningful connections and enhance their career prospects?
Networking in this case, see, my job as a leader, very often leaders are solitary, or they work in their silos very often. So, but I feel when you network, when you keep in touch with other principals, for example, or other leaders of the other institutions, you learn a lot from everyone's experience. Everyone has experienced different, maybe different situations. People when we interact, we learn a lot from each other. So there is a lot of peer learning that happens over here, and with that, it helps you solve the challenges, face the challenges in your institution in a better way. Maybe you can innovate in a better way. And with respect to job that you are asking about, maybe if you need to change the job, your networking will always help. So in my case, that support helps for managing your institution better. And in the second part of your question is if you want to change the job, or for anyone, anywhere in any job scenario, if you have a good network, people know you, and therefore getting a new job will always be
easier.
And you know what kind of jobs are available. If you are talking to people, you understand what is there out there, whether you are capable of doing it, and therefore your chances will always increase. Chances of getting a role that you like will increase. So networking
is really valuable.
Very valuable, very important.
Understood. In addition, do you actually recommend your field of work to students nowadays?
Yes, I would.
Yeah?
If you like teaching, yes.
Okay.
I would.
If you were to start your career over again, is there anything that you would change? And would you stay in the same sector?
I would say in the same sector for sure. What I would like to change, I did research much later in life.
In the PhD you mentioned as well.
Yeah. So I think if I do that again, all over again, I would start much earlier so that I can have more research. I couldn't devote much time because of the administrative role. Now I can't devote too much time for my research, and I'm missing that.
That's a bit of a shame now.
Yes.
Is that the only major regret you have?
Yes.
Okay, that's good then. Just one is a good thing to have. where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
I'm going to retire in 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So that question may not be really that valid for
Right.
me, but I would like to say that, see, it will be around 40 years, 39 to 40 years of experience in this field. I know this industry inside out. This industry is changing a lot, and you need people who are experts in this field. So I can always be an advisor.
Sure.
So that is where I'll see
Yeah.
myself.
Got it.
Yeah.
And lastly, do you think you could share any resources or organizations that students can explore to learn more about your industry?
I would like to say that just see a lot of educational institutions' websites,
Okay.
and that is where you will learn a lot about any educational institution. So you may start with whatever different rankings you have, world rankings, you have QS rankings, you have in India there is NIRF ranking. So depending upon that, you see top 100 or 200 institutions, see their websites, and so you will know what kind of jobs are available in this sector. So that is the best resource that you can have.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I have enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Dr. Lokur. It was a great experience talking
Thank
to
you.
Well, that's all we have for today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. A big thank you once again to our guest today for agreeing to be a part of this podcast. And until next time, this is the Switched On Podcast.